Hi, this is John Linneball of John Linneball Tutoring, and this is how to study for the SAT, reading test done in real time. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 65-minute, 52-question reading test. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm John at johnlinneball.com. www.johnlinneball.com is my website. And 415-623-4251 is my cell phone if you want to call or text. 415-986-7355 is my office number if you'd like to call my office number. So let's wait till 9:20 a.m. and we'll go for 65 minutes. So that would take us to 10:25 a.m. That'll be stop time. All right, so here we go. And here is my answer sheet that I've made up for this. Okay. So let's go forward with this here. All right, 9:20. All right, let's get started. So, reading test. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is go to these things and, all right, see if we've got some questions that we can go to. Okay, let's look for... Okay, 8. Here's a vocabulary and context question. Excuse me. Let's go to line 44. Line 44. Okay. I would do so dragging my feet, a weight on my soul. Okay, so it sounds like a burden. Something is okay. Okay, so it's not bulk, it's not force. Hey, burden. All right. So let's go with number 8. And we're going to make that burden. So B. Okay. So, all right. So number 9, 57 through 58. The word friend. Okay, a friend of yours, a lifetime friend. Okay, and now he's your friend too. Okay, so here, let's see. Okay, we're talking about read and experienced, Great Expectations, some parody of a few authors. Okay, I thought Mr. Dickens was one of them. Okay, so he thinks Charles Dickens is this book, must be a bookseller's friend. Okay, a lifelong friend, now he's your friend too. Okay, so... it's emphasizing how important this person is. So, okay. Emphasis the narrator's connection to Sempere, how friendships help them deal with, the emotional connection. Okay, so I'm going to go with C. You know, it's this guy, that this author will be your lifelong friend, even though Dickens probably had been long dead when these events happened. All right. So let's see here. All right, so let's go up to the beginning. Over the course of the passage, let's read the passage here. Okay, even then, my friends are paper of ink. Okay, read and write long before. Light streets and people. Boundless world, a safe haven from the troubled days. Okay, didn't like to see books that offended him. He was 10. He said, I better get rid of my. Okay. If I didn't want to end up a loser, a nobody. Alright, so, this father doesn't like reading. If I catch you wasting electricity again, reading all this nonsense, you'll be sorry. Okay. Was not a miser, despite when he could, so I could buy myself some treats like the other children. He sent them on licorice sticks, sunflower seeds, or sweets, but I would keep them in a coffee tin under the bed. And when I collected 4 or 5 reales, I would rush out to buy myself a book. Okay. So, alright, let's see. The main focus goes from the kid himself to, okay, my favorite place was Sempere and Sons, Old Paper and Dust. Okay, so it looks like it goes from General discussion of the narrator's love of reading to a portrayal of an influential incident. That seems pretty good. It goes from the lifelong friend. Okay, to narrator's father, to examination of an author with whom. Not really depicting the father so much as describing the narrator and his symbolic representation of a skill. No, not really. It's not his skill. He didn't write the book. The narrator's aspiration before he met Sempere. No, that's not it either. Okay. So, I'm gonna go with A because he talks about his friends were ink and paper, so he loved reading even before he met Sempere and got the Great Expectations copy. Okay, the main purpose of lines 1 through 10, blah blah blah. Even then, okay, Boundless World. Okay, so we see that he learned to read and write. He could escape into other worlds. He could safe haven from that home, the streets and troubled days that only a limited fortune awaited me. So he's trying to escape from a world that doesn't seem very friendly to him. Okay. Alright, I would go with C, describe the passion. He knows this is a way to escape a place that he doesn't like, in a situation he doesn't like. Okay, 3. 3, what's 3? He lacked with which of the following statements would the father of the narrator most likely agree? He lacked affection for the narrator. No, his father liked him. He just thought reading was a waste of time. He did give him money for candy. He disliked any unnecessary use of money. No, he would give him money for candy. He would not have approved of Sempere's gift. Yes, definitely. And he objected to the writings of Charles Dickens. Well, no, not specifically. So it's going to be C. Which of the following? Okay, he would not have approved. Well, okay, my father didn't like to see books in the house, so somewhere between 10 and maybe 14. Okay, well, that's not one of the answers, so 24 through 27, my father's not a miser, okay, blah, blah, blah. So that's not it. 35 through 37. No. 37 through 38. No. 59 through 61. Okay, hidden under my clothes so my father wouldn't see it. Okay, that's going to be the best one, so it's D. Alright, so let's go to the next one. It can reasonably be inferred from the passage that the main reason the narrator considers Great Expectations to be the best gift he ever received was, reading the book and wanting to be a writer. Possibly. He'd only been given sweets and snacks. No. Sempere held him in high regard. As a friend. Okay, so yeah, it's A. Because it talks about, soon I was convinced I didn't want to do anything else in life but learn to do what Mr. Dickens had done. So you look at lines 66 through 66, 67, 68. Okay, next one. So, which provides the best... Oh, okay. That's why it's important to mark off these things and know where these things are. So, boom, it's going to be D, 66 through 68. All right. So, 7. The narrator indicates that he pays Sempere less than Sempere expects him to pay for the books. All right. So, nothing because Sempere, the money he makes selling sweets. Okay, so it's D. Much less than the books are worth. Why? Because we see... the books will ever let me sit and read any book I liked. He hardly ever allowed me to pay for the books, but when he wasn't looking, I'd leave the coins I managed to collect. It was only small change. If I had book to buy with that pittance, it probably would have been only to afford a booklet of cigarette papers. Ha ha ha. Okay, so that's the only kind of book he could afford. Alright, so he paid much less than the books were worth. Okay. So let's move on to number 10. Number 10 is, what is number 10? Okay, which statements describes the relationship between Samperi and Charles Dickens? Okay, probably the best one would be that he's an avid admirer of Dickens's work. I mean, he said, okay, he wanted to do it. I began to suspect, and I was convinced that I didn't want to do anything else in life but learn how to do what Mr. Dickens had done. Okay, so awesome. Okay, so I would go with B. Nothing says that he's his most appreciative reader, or that he thinks he is. Doesn't say he read Dickens's biography, so how could he be feel a connection to it? And Samperi models his own writing after Dickens's style. He doesn't say that. He says he wants to do what he did, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have the same writing style. So let's move on. Okay. Okay, Malhotra, why no results later rarely see the light of day. Okay, failed to see an effect that should be detectable. Okay, so this is about when the experiment doesn't give you the results you want. So, okay, test time-sharing experiments for the social services. Okay, tend to favor legislative approach to bring federal over those who tout to focus on policy matters. Okay, null effects don't tell a clear story, never published, disappointed not to see any. Okay, will require shift in expectations. Okay, over 42% of the experiments were statistically significant. Over those, okay, 62% were ultimately published, 21% of no results. Study praised the clever designs, very important. Okay, University of California, Berkeley. Okay. So, alright, strong results, mixed results, okay. Alright, we can see from this thing that most no results are not even written. Then they're unpublished but written. Some are published in a non-top journal, and few are published in a top journal. Strong results, okay, almost always written. Unpublished but written, published in non-top journal. Okay, so if strong results, mixed results, almost as likely to be published. Okay, so here we go. The passage primarily serves to discuss recent findings, common reporting of so change to that practice. Okay, the shortcomings of current. Okay, so I'm going to go with B, because they're saying, okay, null results where you don't get the result you want are not likely to be published, and that these should probably be published more often. Okay, registry for data okay, pre-analysis plan, the bias against going to waste time and money. So, okay, so if they make the data available, maybe they can stop people from repeating studies that aren't very likely to yield results, etc. Okay, so number 12, as used in line 21, allows TESS allows scientists to order up internet-based surveys of a representative sample of U.S. adults to test okay, so probably would be enables. Scientists can order up a sample of adults to find things. So, yeah, hey, enables, cool. So that's nice. When you think of a word and that word is there, that means it's going to be the right answer. As used in 43, strength most nearly means, all right. Strength, 40. Let's see. Did that say line 43? Yes, 43. The statistical strength, okay, statistical will be significance, that there's actually an effect there. So, yay. Hey, cool. I didn't even see that. That's awesome. All right. So, let's go to 14. All right. The passage indicates that a problem with failing to document null results is that the results of related studies will be misleading. Researchers may overlook promising areas, mistakes in the connection, the bias against null results. Well, okay. Okay, so let's take a look here. I would go with probably misleading. They can look stronger than they should because earlier null studies will be okay, so that's 58 through 62. And alright, so we can answer this one here. 44, we can answer A. Alright, so 16, based on the passage, which of the following hypothetical situations would Malhotra most strongly object? To which, okay, would they strongly, the research which is public knowledge in anything less than a top journal? Well, no, that's a little snooty, but okay. Researching excludes a portion of data that results. Oh, okay, yeah, that would really annoy him because then you're not being honest with your results. Unknowingly repeats a study that produced no results. No, that's bad, but that's not that bad. A research team performs a follow-up study that expands the scope of an initial study that produced no results. No, I mean, basically it's just if it looks like you're altering the data in some way, then that's a problem, right? Good. Okay. Which choice provides the best evidence? All right. Then let's look at 36 through 37. No, not really. What the hell? Overall null results. Okay, 45 through 48. 45 through 48. Okay. '62 through 68. Okay. Even more troubling, the two just went on to publish based on a smaller sample. We used the student sample, did yield fruit. Okay, so yeah, it's troubling that he used that, so but they used a smaller sample, so yeah. That's kind of cherry picking. Okay, so I'm gonna go with C, is it? 69, okay, is it? Yeah, okay, so it is C. It's not 69 through 73, it's the one before it. Okay, awesome. I'm just being honest. The last paragraph serves mainly to, okay, I think it's to propose a solution. Would address these problems pre-analysis, what they hope to achieve with the data, tweaking their analyses after the data are collected in a search for more publishment. Okay, so they're proposing a solution. Okay. Future research project. Okay, and so, okay, possible solutions. Summarize the findings of a study about. Okay, examining. Okay, so that's B. It's going to be introduce a possible solution to problems discussed in the passage regarding the reporting of social science studies. Okay. 19. Social science studies yielding strong results were, okay, unwritten over 50. Okay, we know that's not right. Unpublished but written 50% of the time. Published in a top journal about 20% of the time. That sounds about right. Published in a top journal. Yep, about 20% of the time. Okay. So 19 is C. Okay, and it's not 80% of the time for a non-top journal, because then that would be everything else would publish in a non-top journal, so it can't be that. That can't be it. All right, which of the following statements is supported by the graph? Studies with mixed results were just as likely to be published as they were to be left either unpublished or unwritten. Okay, here's unpublished, or here's unwritten, here's unpublished. That's 50. And then it's about 40%, so maybe, but let's look at the other ones. Studies with mixed results occurred more frequently than the studies with strong results and null results. I don't think that even says how many there were. Doesn't, 42, 36. Well, okay. No, because mixed results is about 36%, and strong is 42, 22. So no, because 42 plus 22 would be 64, which is bigger than 36. So no. Third 20. Okay, we're looking at 20. Studies with mixed results. More according. Okay, no. So B's wrong. We're more likely to be published in top journals than in non-top journals. I don't think that's right. We're the most common type is okay. Mixed results is not the most common type. Non-top journal. No, so that's not it either. So they'd say more likely to be published in top journals and non-top. No, okay. Occurred more frequently than studies with strong and null results combined. It doesn't really make sense. 36. Okay, unpublished but written and unwritten. Am I looking at this wrong? Just as likely to be published as they were to be left either unpublished or unwritten. I guess that's about right. Oh, wait a minute. They said published. Oh, didn't they? Yeah, okay, because we have published in a non-top journal with published in a top journal. That is 50%. Okay. So A. Alright, by process of elimination and then actually figuring out why it's right. Good. 21 is which statement of the passage is most directly represented by the data in the graph. Okay. So 30 through 33. That null effect. Okay, their emails said if you have problems with the journals just wouldn't be interested. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good choice because I mean, certainly it looks like ones with null results generally don't get published. Okay, 33 through 36. The unfortunate is the null effects are not clear. Never published, definitely disappointed to not see any 33. Okay, that's not quite as good. I mean, that's probably why they're not interested, but you can't tell that by looking at the graph that they don't tell a clear story. 43 through 45. The statistical strength made a huge difference whether they were ever published. Overall 42%. Okay. Okay, yeah, that one knocks it out of the park. That's the one we want. So, okay, C. And alright, just because we should, let's look at 52 through 55. I don't think that's the right answer, but we should always check these things. Clever design, very important paper. Starts to put on the things we want to understand. Meh, yeah, that doesn't really work. So, okay, no worries. Alright, 22. Alright, so let's keep going here. We don't have a lot of time. Okay, inflexible old salt becomes a softie in the nano world, stretching like taffy to more than twice. Okay, so salty. Okay, rigid, plastic. Okay, so this looks like good old van der Waals interactions. Okay, stamping nanowires. We should be nano pulling them. Okay, so it looks like huge underground can bend like plastic, but water is these perhaps salty nanowires. Okay, Alright, so salt at the microscale can stretch and form little wires. And there's things you could do with those things. There are things, okay. One, central, sometimes materials behave. Yeah, okay, contrary. Inflexible old salt becomes a softie. That means they're behaving contrary, against expectations. Okay, or as I wrote in a poem once, I don't want to be contrarian. I just want to check out a librarian. Okay. Anyway, which choice best describes the overall structure of the passage? Salt's properties differ from researchers' expectations. Okay. Okay, gravity, surface tension, nanoworld, okay. Sodium chloride, okay. Fudge. Alright, so inflexible, so metals such as gold or aluminum can stretch out at temperatures well below there. Okay, different forces rule the nanoworld. Okay, so there are things that actually, the microscope, the salt stretches to rearrange the atoms rather than break. Okay, this talks about surface tension, electrostatic forces, van der Waals forces, okay. So, doesn't really talk about hypotheses so much about it, or an experiment that does it. Several ways in which salt's properties, okay. Okay. So, neat. Alright, I'm gonna go. I don't think it's a description of two experiments and a disagreement in the results. It looks like that. Looks like that's not actually what's going on here. They don't disagree. So, an introduction to an interesting salt property, description, and speculation regarding its application. Okay. Making nanowires. Okay, so it does talk about an application. Description of discovery, and okay, so it's D. It talks about how, that's an interesting property. Here's how it was discovered. Here's something you could do with it. Make wires. Okay. Alright. Well, somebody's calling me, but I don't recognize the number, so I'm not going to pick it up. Alright, 24. Which choice provides the best evidence for the claim that Moore's group was surprised to see salt stretching? Okay. The salt actually stretched.
Hello, this is John Linneball. I can't answer the phone right now.
So,
If you leave your name, your phone number, and when you called, I will certainly call you back.
Alright. So, they didn't expect superplasticity in a rigid crystalline like salt. Okay, bizarre behavior. Okay, 17 through 18. Yeah, that looks like the right one. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I would go with A. B, 26 through 28. They were investigating after cleaving about the size of a sugar cube. Got no microscope to detect forces. There was no very strong to glom onto it. Okay, observe. Okay. And then they observed what was happening in 56 or 56. This may change your view of things. Yeah, so I think it's just A, because that would be the one they don't expect a rigid material to stretch. Alright, 25. Used in line 20. Rule most nearly means. Okay, 20. Rule, okay, so forces rule the nano. Highlights the different forces rule the nano world, so control, like govern. So, okay, hey, control, awesome. Alright. Guess I think the same way that the people who write these tests do. Alright, so I'm always coming up with the same words that they used. Okay. So, according to the passage, researchers have identified which mechanism as potentially responsible for the initial attraction between the microscope tip and the salt. Okay, it's definitely not gravity. It's not nano imprinting. That's how little wires are made, micro wires. Surface tension or van der Waals interactions. I believe they said van der Waals interactions, but let's take a look. The attraction between the tip and the salt might be good to electrostatic. Okay. Might lead to excessive Okay, the initial traction is van der Waals, and then the elasticity might be excessive surface tension. So let's reread the question to see what they're asking about. Okay, the initial attraction, so that would be van der Waals interactions. Important to read these things carefully, kids. All right. 42. Okay, let's go find 27 here. All right. So, and it's used in line 42. Lead to. 42 might lead to, okay, cause the elasticity, I guess would be the best thing. Okay, guide to, result in. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go with result in. It's not point towards. It's not leading, you're not guiding someone. It just results in. It just causes it. It's not something that, hey, you could go this way. It's like, no, I'm forcing you because I'm a natural force. Because based on the passage, which choice best describes the relationship between salt behavior in the nano world and the macro world? Okay, it's not that they're both flexible. Salt flexibility is expected in the, yeah, salt nanowires were observed in the nano world later. No, it's not C. Salt interaction with water lead to very different properties than they do in the macro world. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, oh, alright, they can bend like plastic with water is believed. Perhaps salty nanowires, okay. Huh. Maybe C. Salts, interaction with water, okay, so it's not D. In both the nano world and the macro world, salt can be... Okay, so they can be, it's just they think water's involved in the macro world, so it is A. Huh. Okay. 29. Let's see, 28. Yeah, it's flexible, right? Yeah. Okay, could bend like plastic. Okay, so cool. Let's move on. According to the information, the micro's moving away in 15 nanometers from the surface. What is the approximate micronewtons? Okay, moving away, and it's 15. Okay, so it's between 5 and 1, 0.5 and 1, so, okay, 0.75. Awesome. Okay, 30. Wait a minute. Oh, that was a best evidence question. Okay, 30 is the 0.75. Whoops. 29. Okay, so this is D, 51 through 53, right? Yeah, 51. Okay, huge underground deposit of salt can bend like plastic. Okay, wonderful. All right. 31. Based on the passage and the graph, which label in the graph indicates the point at which a salt nanowire breaks? Okay. P, Q, R, or T? Okay. Force on the tip. Okay, so it looks like, I'm guessing that the thing breaks when it becomes a flat line. Okay, so it looks like here's the force, and then it just it drops down to 0. Okay, so there's no force on the tip. So then it would have to be T. PQRT. Tip moving towards it. Oh, okay, because tip's moving away, so then that would be where it breaks. So yeah, it's T. Okay. 32. Oh, we got 32. Let's do 32. Ba, 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 ba. All right. Okay. Mr. Lincoln likes that bond of the federal of joining free and cannot stand. Lincoln's that bond, okay. Government is contrary to law. It is to divide into free of this day. Okay. Stephen Douglas. Okay, so this is a state rights argument. I now come to the question why this union cannot exist forever, divided into free and slave states. If each state will carry out the principles upon which our institutions were founded, to wit, the right of each state to do as it pleases without meddling with its neighbors. Just to act upon that great principle in the union will not only live forever, it will stand and expand until it covers the whole continent and makes this confederacy one grand ocean-bound republic. Okay, complaining of what I said in my speech at Springfield, which said I accepted my nomination for the senatorship, he then quotes that portion where I said a house divided against itself cannot stand. Let me say in a word, with regard to the matter, he tries to persuade us that there must be a variety of different institutions that states the Union. The variety necessarily proceeds from the variety of soil, climate, the face of the country, and the different natural features of the state. I agree to all that. Have these very matters ever produced any difficulties in mind? Not at all. Have we ever had any quarrel over the fact that they have laws in Louisiana designed to regulate the commerce that springs from the production of sugar, or that we have a different class relative to the production of flour in the state? Okay. They don't make the house divided against itself. They're the props that hold the house and sustain the union. But has it been the element of slavery? Have we not always had quarrels and difficulties over it? Okay, whenever has been limited, there has been peace. The date of the Missouri Compromise. Okay. Oh boy, somebody's doing some yard work outside or something. Okay, so whenever there has been an effort to spread, there has been agitation and resistance. Do you think the nature of man will be changed? The same that produced agitation one time will not have effect at another. Okay, so the main purpose of Douglas is growth of the territorial population. Douglas's defense of continued expansion. No, that's not the main thing. That division of the free, okay, does not endanger the Union. Unaware of basic facts. Account for the image of the United States as powerful and admirable. Okay. I would go with B, that it doesn't, leave it alone and we'll expand from sea to shining sea, yada, yada, yada. So just states' rights all the way, including forced slavery. Passage 1 suggests about the U.S. government's provision for the institution of slavery as framed in the Constitution. Okay, it talks about that it's house divided against itself, so he's saying the Constitution is, okay, they anticipated, they provide a good basic structure. Yes, they provide a good basic structure. He's saying it doesn't need to be changed. We can rely on it. And Mr. Lincoln is being silly when he says a house divided against itself cannot stand. Okay. They're found okay, blah, blah, blah. It has stood and divided during this period. We had 4 million to 30 million, Mississippi to the Pacific Ocean, the Floridas and Texas. Okay. So, okay. The terror and the admiration. So, 10 through 16, weak and feeble power to, power, okay. So, 10 million, so we've extended our territory. That looks like a pretty good one. 25 through 27. Free can exist if each state will carry about without meddling. Well, it just asks why it can't exist. Divided into free and slave as the Founding Fathers made it. 35 through 39. Young nation growing with rapidity. National anthem, old world expand and expire. And acquire new territory. That doesn't make any sense here. 41 through 45. If we live on the principle, we can go on and extend. Okay, 41 through 45. If we live on the principle of state rights and state sovereignty, each state regulating its own affairs and minding its own business, we can go on and extend indefinitely just as fast as far as we need the territory. Okay, ding, 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 ding. That is B. Says we'll go just fine as long as you stay the course and as long as states mind their own business, which is the principle of states' rights. Okay. So, 35. Element most nearly means, okay. So at this point, you should realize that you have to go look at this. If you just guess, you're probably going to get it wrong, especially because it's a secondary or archaic thing. And these are old writings, so they probably are. So 67, this element of slavery. Okay, so this thing that is a part of something. So I would go, okay, well, factor is good, ingredient is good. Environment, quality. Okay, have we not always had? Okay, Ingredient and factor are all decent ones. I would go with factor. Okay, it's not quite an ingredient. It's not a material thing per se, so we'll go with factor. 36. Based in passage 2, Lincoln would most likely agree with which claim about controversy over slavery. It can be ended only if northern states act unilaterally. It would abate if it attempts to introduce slavery to regions where it's not practiced or abandoned. It has been exacerbated by the ambiguity of laws regarding the holding of slaves. It is fueled in part by differences in religion and social values. Okay. Okay. Like causes, there generally has been no limited to present. There has been peace. All the trouble and convulsion has. Okay, so it's talking about spreading it over increased territory. So, okay, so that's going to be 74 through 76 for line 37. This is whenever there's been peace. And whenever there's been, okay, so we're talking about limiting to its, it would abate, so that would be discontinued. If attempts to introduce slavery to regions where it is not practiced would be abandoned. All right, pretty easy. Okay, so I've got 25 minutes left, and 38. Nature most nearly means, okay, 84, right? Do you think the nature of man, okay, so is essential characteristics or qualities? Okay, character, yay! Alright. 39, which choice identifies the central tension between the two passages? Douglas proposes changes to federal policies on slavery, but Lincoln argues that such changes would enjoy no popular support. No, that's not it. He's saying leave it alone. States' rights. Economic impact, but Lincoln no. For finding fault, argues that the criticism, yeah, that's the one. He's saying it misrepresents his position. Federal law, this is poorly reasoned. No, I don't think so, because Lincoln, he says here, he again quotes the portion House divided. He tries to persuade us there must be a variety, blah, blah, blah. I agree to it, but has it always been? So, that's a problem here. So basically he's saying, well, he misunderstood this. And Douglas is saying, well, have you found the problem with the Constitution? I can't believe this. It's gone on forever. Where did he learn about what this government is contrary to the law of God and cannot stand? And, okay, we've obtained all this territory and blah, blah, blah. So the other answer is interpretation of federal law that conflicts with Lincoln's is poorly reasoned. That's a good one, too. Those are both pretty good ones. Well, okay, he does say that interpretation of federal law, this is all states' rights, and he implies that Douglas's interpretation is poorly reasoned. No. let's see. Okay. All right. So, I'm going to stick with C. It might be D. Those are both reasonably okay. But I'd say he's not really interpreting the Constitution so much as he's just saying, other than he's mentioning the principle of states' rights. And Lincoln is saying, well, states' rights, I didn't argue against states' rights or the Constitution. It's just you're making a mistake where you're saying, one thing is slavery that always causes trouble when people try to expand it versus everything else where, yes, they have specific laws that are specific to certain states because of differences in the economy and climate and blah, blah, blah. So, okay. 40, both discuss the issue of slavery in relationship to expansion of the Union, laws regarding commerce. I think it's expansion of the Union. Okay, the first one, Douglas doesn't talk at all about laws regarding commerce. Okay. Yeah, and okay, so they're both talking about expansion into new territory, so yeah. That's, the whole, should you have slavery in new territories that are acquired by the United States. So, okay, so it's going to be 40 is A, and 41 is... Okay, in the context of each passage as a whole, the question in lines 25 through 27 of passage 1 and 67 through 69 of passage 2 primarily function to help each speaker, okay, cast doubt on the other's sincerity, criticize the other's methods, okay. Okay, 25 through 27, 67 through 69, 25 through 27. Why can't this work? Okay, as our fathers made it, so he's arguing to tradition, and Lincoln wants some kind of newfangled revision to the Constitution that's worked fine, and I'm just asking you, why would he do that? That doesn't make sense. He must be silly. And then 67 through 69, has it always been so with this? Have we always not had? Okay, and when we see, okay, so they're both using rhetorical questions. They're saying that, okay, yes, the Constitution has worked, but Lincoln is saying, yes, but there's always been problems with slavery since day one. So, and especially when people want to introduce it to territories where it wasn't already practiced. So, yeah, they're okay. So they're just undermining the other's arguments. They're just asking rhetorical questions. The idea, these are questions that strongly imply that there's only one answer you could have without looking like an idiot. So, okay, 42. Are you saying you hate the Constitution? That's what I'm getting at. Or, are you saying that you don't recognize that slavery has always caused problems in this country? Okay. So the Venus flytrap needs to know when an ideal meal is crawling across its leaves. Closing its trap requires a huge expense, and opening can take several hours. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. Concentration to close. All right, I'm just going to skim this thing. To test electrodes and electrical current to the open lobes without any direct toucher. Okay, so all right, so it looks like they can make the trap open and close with a current. All right. Venus flytrap's closing action. Okay, both complex and unique among plants. Yeah, it's not B. We already know that. I mean, that's something I learned about in elementary school, or maybe even before I was in school, about the Venus flytrap, so they don't need research for that. It's basically a scientific explanation for the Venus flytrap's closing. It's calcium ions that create an electrical potential, and okay, so then the electrical current goes off when something touches it. 43 enables a plant to identify the species of its prey. Okay, so probably 43, I believe, is C. Conserves the energy supply. And 3 through 7, closing a strategy is expensive because only once the spring dawdling is large enough to be worth its time. Yeah, okay, so definitely it's 3 through 7. So 43 is safeguards the plant's energy supply. 44 is A, closing, blah, 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 because it takes a tremendous expenditure of energy. 45. The use of the phrase is dawdling insect happily meanders, unassuming bugs. It's a tone that, okay, it's informal. It's, this bug is walking along going, da-da-da-da-da, I'm having a nice time walking on this plant. Ah! And it gets eaten by the Venus flytrap. So I would go with, it's informal, it's not melodramatic. Melodramatic would be, oh my god, this poor bug was eaten by this evil insect-eating plant. Academic would be just talking about it like a professor, like most of this article does. And mocking would be, ha ha, look at the stupid bug, it got eaten by a plant. So that's not it either. Okay. 46. In the second paragraph, the discussion of short-term memory primarily functions 2. Okay, 15 through 31. Let's look at it. We can look at this analogous. The flytrap encodes information that doesn't know is touched. Retained finally retrieves it once a second hair is touched. If the small ant takes a while, the trap will have forgotten the first one. In other words, it doesn't close the ant. Okay. So, okay. So, controversial hypothesis, no. Clarifies an explanation using strategies of, okay, probably A, strategies of a Venus and of strategies of human beings. Well, no, it doesn't talk about human beings. Okay. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Alright. Okay, calcium ions dissipate. Okay, so it looks like basically the ant touches one thing, triggers something, but then it has to trigger another one within a certain amount of time where the first one wears out, and then that's, you have to have 2 triggers to make it go. So that probably tells you how big the fly is, or the ant, or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to go with A. Capacity for, well, D, capacity for emitting detailed information. Okay, it's not really keeping a lot of detailed information, so I think 47 is wrong. Okay, the second trigger for, okay, why the Venus flytrap requires the second trigger hair to be touched within a short amount of time for its trap to close. Okay, stabilizes the surge of calcium ions, prompts the calcium channels to open. A necessary supplement, okay. I don't think it reverses the charge. Okay. It loses the storage of information. Okay. Touch 2 things in about 20 seconds. Okay, electric temporary reversal in the okay. Alright. Okay. Does not reach this. Okay, relatively high concentration of calcium. So second hair. Okay, so it has to push the calcium over the threshold. So we're looking at 50 through 56. So 47 is, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So yeah, provides a necessary supplement, increases it to the point that it says, yeah, okay, it's time to go. 48. Which choice describes a scenario in which Hodick and Sievers model will not close around an instant? Okay. Results in a total, okay, no, it's not A, that's exactly when it would. Makes contact after a period of inactivity, has diminished appreciably. Okay, yeah, it's B. Let's check C and D, causes, okay, no, it's not trigger hairs, that C can't, only if it touches only one, it's fine, within 10 seconds. No, I mean, 'cause it says about 20, so D also doesn't work. 49, demonstrated. Yeah, I guarantee you it's not protested, probably established. Well, let's take a look at 67, just in case. First, demonstrated. Okay, so that is indeed electricity that causes the Venus flytrap to close. Sue. Okay, established, be showed. Okay. 50. 50-50. Volkov's testing of Hodik and Siever's model. Okay. Okay, Volkov. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, so Hodik and Sievers said proposed relatively high and doesn't reach the okay. So okay, well Weiler didn't measure calcium levels, the current likely led to increases, so that would be the critique, is that how would you know that caused it? So I'll bet that's it. Yeah, okay, did not corroborate a central element, so it's, well, you don't know that it increases the calcium ions, so it's not that the application of electric current would have been objectionable. And, okay, Volkov's technology was not available to Hodik and Sievers. Well, I don't know, maybe, but that doesn't make any difference. So it's got to be that, yeah, it says it would have likely increased the calcium, but we don't know that. Okay, 51. So, okay, so looks like 70 through 74, so we need something that goes up to 74. Okay, 71 through 74, so that's going to be C. And 52, last question. Yay! Made the most extensive Volkov mathematical models to predict the electrical charge. Analysis, published theories of scientists who developed. Okay, I think it's just C, varying levels of electrical current. I think you just zapped it with electricity. Okay, they read up very fine, and matrix close, okay. The exact electrical, yeah, so we just zapped it with different things of electricity. And okay. Alright. So that is it. Let's check the answers. Alright, so I've got 2 wrong, well actually 1 wrong. 31 I accidentally put T instead of D, but for 31, choice D was T, so would have gotten that right on the real test. 34 I picked D, but they say it's B. So 34 is which choice provides the best evidence to the answer of the previous question. Okay, this previous question, what does passage 1 suggest about the U.S. government's provision for the institution of slavery as framed in the Constitution? So for 33, the answer was C, provided a good basic structure that does not need to be changed. And so they're saying that choice B, 25 through 27, I now come back to the question, why can this union not exist forever, divided into free and slave states as our fathers made it? Personally, I kind of call BS on that, because they're saying 34, that D is 41 through 45. If we live upon the principle of state rights and state sovereignty, state regulating its own, minding its own affairs, we can go on and extend indefinitely just as far as we need the territory. I think that's a better answer. I mean, it can expand and continue. I know they say, oh, well, it's really just expansion, but this is talking about the existence of the society itself. Anyway, okay, we have the answers here. That's, okay, we have choice C, sorry, 51, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, I have to go back to this question here. 34, okay. So 34, they're saying, okay. The question asks about how Douglas characterized the Constitution's provisions, says they provided a good basic structure and don't need to be changed. I now come back to, so it says D is incorrect, and the importance of the sovereignty of individual states to the future expansion of the nation. Well, okay, they provided a good basic structure and didn't need to be changed. Well, here it says free and slave states, it can thus exist. The trouble is I have with that is 25, 29. Let's see what the answer is here. That's 25 through 27. That's the problem. 25 through 27, it's just a rhetorical question. I now come back to the question, why can this union not exist forever, divided into free and slave states as our fathers made it? I would go with it if they went from 27 to 29, where it said it can thus exist if each state will carry out the principles upon which its institutions were founded, to wit the right of each state to do as it pleases without meddling of its neighbors. So if they included 27 through 30 or through 31, that would be a much better answer. So my point of view is living on the principle of state rights and state sovereignty, we can extend indefinitely. Anyway, I understand their point that, the one that directly addresses slavery is 25 through 27, but it's just a rhetorical question that doesn't really seem to make a statement so much as just ask a question. Which is not so much presenting even though it's a rhetorical question, it's supposed to make you look stupid. It's like, well, Lincoln answers that rhetorical question, which means it's not a good rhetorical question, where he says, well, actually, slavery has always been problematic. It always causes problems when people try to extend it into territories where it doesn't exist. So, I know, maybe it's just my ego because I got it wrong, but I don't think that's a very good answer. They really should have included up to line 31, or maybe, 25 through 31, or 27 through 31. Okay, otherwise the answer where I say, well, it can extend indefinitely as we respect state rights and state sovereignty would probably be a better answer. Oh well, can't win them all. So, on that note, we're going to say, I hope this helped.
I'd appreciate your input.
If you have any comments or questions, leave a comment below or contact me at the phone or email at the beginning of this video. If you like this and you want to help me make more videos, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I do in-person and online tutoring for the SAT, ACT, GRE, a lot of different tests, and more. And again, thanks for watching this. Comments are welcome. I do reserve the right to edit comments on my videos for relevancy and common courtesy. Please don't put spam up there. Please, don't put something you wouldn't want your grandma to read with your name on it, okay? All right, and again, this is John Linneball. I'm with John Linneball Tutoring. You can reach me at john@johnlinneball.com, www.johnlinneball.com. johnlinneballtutoring.com will also get you there. And you can reach me at 415-623-4251 on my cell. And you can also call me at 415-986-7355, as the person who called in the middle of this video did. Pretty sure it was one of those spam calls. Anyway, have a nice day.